All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is March 9th, 2022. Let's see. We are all set and good to go. So happy Wednesday to everybody. Welcome to sort of a midweek recap. We are all Let's take a look at the S&Ps. We did have some notable downside volatility yesterday. This was sparked by a little bit of catalyst in regards to some discussions by current President Joseph Biden. And whenever we saw some of this intraday volatility, the S&Ps were already threatening the downside level of their expected move for the week. You can see that during the midday session, or right before some of the news catalyst was occurring, the market was kind of trading in between the lower and upper bounds of maybe 415 to about 420 in the SPY, 4150 and 4200 in the SPX. And from the expected move perspective, this is fairly common style of trade once you get to these levels. Oftentimes, the market simply defines option risk at these levels. So what you're going to see is people starting to get their positions threatened whenever there are slight breaches or even tests of this particular bound. And once again, while it's not support and resistance in the conceptual sense, there is some sort of option market play at these levels that can lead to some relatively flat trade, or in this case, kind of an over-under style of trade, as people are maybe repositioning, moving their risk out in time or in price, and then just kind of waiting to see what sort of next move the market takes. If we did see a very clear breakdown from this sort of trading range intraday, there would have been a much more violent downside swing in regards to some of the hedging activity that can occur outside of the expected move bounds. But we did not see that. We actually got a bit of an upthrust, and this was a fairly nice reversal pattern. We'll look at that on the SPY in just a moment. The market found a relative top on the intraday session and then actually came all the way back to the lows. This was maybe more seen on the intraday session as well with regards to some level 2 and some of the bookmap tools that we use inside of Variable Traders Chat. So for the moment, we need to identify this as a breach of the expected move. And when we look at the SPX expected move for the remainder of the week, we start to evaluate what the market is pricing at these levels. So for example, at the beginning of the week, based on Friday's close, we had about $145 expected move. As of today, and remember, there's only 3 more trading sessions left, the market's still pricing about $100 of expected movement. And the way to visualize this is to take some of the closing prices from yesterday and once again just draw these bounds. So if you're looking to kind of dynamically update where option risk is placed in the market, this is an ever-evolving sort of scenario, but a lot of people use the weeklies to define that initial, forward look ahead kind of risk, and then they're adjusting their portfolio risk throughout the rest of the week as you see breaches and as you see containment within these bounds. So we're going to keep an eye on this because once again, some of our more violent trade has occurred outside of the expected move bounds. This was actually a scenario that occurred 2 weeks ago where we lost this bound on a gap down open, and then we had one of the largest range candles in the S&P ever seen. You can also see that some relative lows have been printed on slight breaches. So there's certainly the opportunity for sort of that bullish reversal off of these levels, but we got to have the technical signals and some conviction by some short-term trend changes. So Shifting back into the SPY, we can look at that a little bit more nuanced here and start to look at some of these volume readings. One of the reversals that was quite powerful yesterday took the form of a W reversal. And for those unfamiliar, this is just kind of a classic technical pattern. It's very much a variant of a double bottom reversal. And the idea here is that whenever you get sort of these buy and sell swings inside of a trading range, typically you're going to find some upper bound expansion attempts that fail, and then you'll find some lower bound expansion attempts that also fail, just kind of widening out the volatility. Whenever you get a breach from this trading range, and this is one that's maybe been set by 2 to 3 buy and sell swings, this forms the shape of a W, sort of the triple, up and down sort of movement. And then typically if you can get a breakout of highs with some conviction, the volume expansion is what's key to kind of keep you in this trade for just your technical sort of measured move targets. And this one actually played out quite well. If we're talking about actual measured move, if I just kind of measure the exact highs and lows here from this trading range to showcase what a volume expansion and a range expansion looks like, this is what measured movement is all about. When you get outside of these ranges, you anticipate a doubling of the range. Now it can go much higher, but that's your target. If you're trading and if you have these types of targets, if you've entered positions here, you're looking to sell some of the position here. And then obviously in this case, it actually gave a little bit more before providing that sort of R4 reversal that we looked at yesterday in the chat. Additionally, this is a market that has some clear upper and lower bound resistances. So for example, we're kind of looking at this range here. This is a zone that the S&P sold through yesterday. And there's some pre-market resistance here amidst all of this volatility. So we are seeing some technical just structure starting to form amidst what is currently still a very powerful daily downtrend, weekly downtrend that's attempting to make a new sell swing. And then of course the anticipation that we might have found a preliminary higher low on the daily. We're obviously looking to see how we breach this trading range moving forward because it was a pretty wide S&P intraday session. So all in all, the market still has sort of that bearish tone. The volume is still rising on the sell swings. And what bulls are trying to do is negate some of this price action with the understanding that if they cannot do that, the threat right now is that we make a fresh low in the market. And this is going to be a fearful low because ultimately every sell swing we've gotten has been on higher volatility. VIX still remains elevated. We're still sitting well above 30. Once again, not technical in nature as a product, but a showcase of rising demand of volatility as we have a clear trend line acting as support. An ideal scenario is that we do lose this trend line for a bullish recovery type of setup. And whenever that does form, whatever that looks like, you want to keep an eye on volatility futures. Once again, this is what's driving the VIX sort of pricing. And from the higher level perspective of we are still in backwardation, we're still trying to find moments in time where this volatility can come down from these elevated prints. And as the March contracts are starting to roll, you'll notice the volume here is a little lighter. You come out to the April and May, and you still see that there's about a dollar wide spread between the April, May, obviously in the backwardation structure. So all in all, we are sticking with the idea here that fresh lows are still on the table. Obviously, market is looking to find its footing. We might have seen a short-term top in one of our bullish sectors. Energy did see a lot of volatility yesterday, mostly around that news event with the current president speaking about some of the actions being taken. And as we kind of zoom out here, we're looking at XLE coming into some monthly levels. I mean, these are levels printed back in 2016, 2018. It's a very clear resistance level if you bring your chart out in time. So as a bull, you might want to be a little careful in these upper bounds. Yes, there's still the sort of scenario of higher energy prices, but if you've been part of this upthrust, you may want to look and see, is this level going to provide some challenge? And ultimately, this level has not been breached since back in 2015. We got a very mild breach yesterday, and this is on the back of an overextended daily bullish uptrend, something that's well removed from its more recent pullbacks. So just keep an eye on this. Not quite a short yet, but maybe a stall in the bullish behavior. And what was so interesting yesterday, if we zoom this chart in, maybe look at a 5-minute here, I want y'all to observe the type of sell swing we got in XLE. Pretty violent, from 80 to 75 on a product that's only 80 bucks. That's definitely high percentage movement from high to low. And I want y'all to line that up with what's happening in the S&P on the short term. Or let me do this. XLE, SPY. Let's take out all this this noise. Let's bring it to a 5-minute here. So just kind of observing that there was a very clear inverse scenario here. Just kind of zoom it in. Okay. So XLE, seeing this sell swing on yesterday's session, and the S&P rallying as the energy sector sold off. So, just bigger picture here, a little bit of an inverse correlation going on. We had a rising energy market for the entire morning, and we topped out at about 11 o'clock. We had a falling S&P until about 10:50, 11 o'clock, and then we really got the rally going as energy was selling off. So the market cap that potentially is leaving energy might have flowed in the short term into more risk-on sectors. And once again, just kind of look at these charts. There's some violent trade, but it was very clear inverse correlation and correlation depending on where you're focused. So risk-on sectors like tech got a bid, and they helped out the S&P with this move higher. XLY moving higher amidst that entire rally. And even more appropriate, we want to see some of these risk-off type sectors, not necessarily with the same violence of the sell swing, but we want them to stop being so strong. Because essentially this market is not going to move higher as a conglomerate based around energy and utilities, based around risk-off type sectors like real estate. Whatever's been outperforming the market as a whole, we're looking for the shift here. And this is a potential moment to kind of pay attention as the market may be starting to put those early signals together. Whether or not we see follow through is yet to be seen. But utilities, we drew out this channel. It's working. Channel high has acted as resistance. You should have been selling energy positions into this as a channel trader. And ultimately, if it goes higher, so be it. You look for another entry point or you add to your core position. So this dynamic in the market tends to still be fairly consistent. Energy's rise is leading to some bearish activity as a whole because we're simply not looking at risk-on sectors. So keep all this in mind as we move forward, and also keep a close eye on financials. Once again, financials are a risk to any bullish behavior of the market simply because right now they're in a bit of a free fall. We have a weekly confirmed downtrend. We'll see how much follow through this has, but at this point, as long as we close below this swing low, the weekly downtrend is confirmed. So at the end of the day, financials are looking for their support. And when we zoom things out into the monthly, this has plenty of potential for downside before we even find a monthly higher low. just from a technical sense, we could fall all the way back to our previous breakout zones, previous all-time highs, or even something like a rising 20. And this is a draw down for the market. That something needs to basically take the lead. And right now, with energy being our current leader, that cannot be what is a bullish thesis for the S&P. It's not enough. It's not enough market cap. So everything else pretty much the same. Dollar strength, just looking kind of short term here. Dollar strength, bit of a topping action right now, so the pullback may be underway. Once again, we're looking at, is the fear starting to subside in the market? Are we getting a little bit of a shift? And what was working, are we starting to see those pullbacks form? Are people starting to alleviate the fear in utilities? And in this case, has energy found a relative top? Where is the money going to go from this point? And as we're looking into tomorrow with CPI data being released roughly after the end of the session, this is going to be something that the market's going to anticipate some of the reaction from that event, and where are they going to move in regards to what the actual readings look like. So just wanted to review as well Mania cycles. I don't know exactly the I guess the experience level of every trader who's joining us this morning, but a lot of times whenever you are trading, and I'm speaking as a trader, daily swing, you want to be looking for what's in play, but you always want to be anticipating the sell the news event. And just as another confirmation that energy might have topped out, we have to be looking at these high flyers, because yesterday we found the high. At this point, it's pretty obvious that these are going to be some high prints for a while in these stocks. The volume was starting to fade on upper moves, showing that the momentum was waning, and people simply were starting to get too extended. Once that news came out, selling did take over, and this is where people essentially can become trapped. You definitely want to play these on the way up as momentum style trade. You just don't want to be last to the party. So understand that these stocks are very likely to be out of focus for the time, and they are high risk, high reward in both directions. There's opportunity to the top side, there's opportunity to the downside. You just don't want to be in between, and you don't want to have the wrong risk profile. So I wanted to call these out because they were dominating the Bear Bull Trader watch list yesterday, and they were certainly in play. You just had to have the right strategy, because in the morning session, you'll notice that these things were still moving up. And then, of course, they topped out, a lot of them kind of topping out earlier before the news. Profit taking started. And then, of course, these never recovered on the session. You can find moments of long bounce opportunity, sort of the oversold condition in certain names. This is a style that I personally prefer. It's one of my sort of edges in the market. But, unfortunately, even if you bought yesterday, you're down on these positions. So it's all about just knowing when the party's over, knowing when the momentum is gone, and understanding the risk profile on the way back down. They can give up everything that they gained and then some. So great trade opportunities, definitely risky in both directions. And there's plenty of examples from yesterday, some of which are going to move. Once again, they'll have these sort of like daily higher low scenarios, these bounce scenarios. They'll bounce. It's just all about the risk profile once they kind of come back in play. So, another confirmation signal that energy is probably starting to top out a little bit. So, yesterday I wanted to bring up some strategy ideas. And, for this one, I'm still looking sort of at the option market as a way to gain some exposure to the market, regardless of your directional bias, It's all about just playing things as they form. In this example, I'm just picking a random stock here. Let's do NVIDIA because it has a different, doesn't have those weird series. Let's say I'm a bull on NVIDIA. I think it's getting a little oversold and I want some long exposure, but I know based on my technical experience, we're still in a downtrend. There has not really been a support set. This market could move a little bit against me. We're not quite at the trend line, but we're getting close enough. And I just want to have this in my portfolio for a while, but not necessarily go all out bullish because the technicals are not in my favor. So one thing we brought up a couple of weeks ago is the idea of selling verticals. And this is a great way whenever you have some key levels that you believe are not going to be breached. And what you're identifying is that the market is very unlikely to go against that key level, but you're also anticipating that it's not going to go super bullish or bearish against it. It's support, but it's not a bounce scenario. It's not going to move against that level in the opposite direction. It's just going to stall or it's going to trade relatively flat. And usually when this occurs, when you find that key level in the market, it's usually after a pretty wild swing into that level, usually a sell swing or a buy swing. And what you're saying is that this could continue, but I think that level is going to hold for now. That's where going into the option market and selling verticals is quite powerful. You want to be thinking like an iron condor. You could sell both sides of the structure, or you could just sell the vertical against the level. The option market's always a little weird in the pre-market sessions. Let me see if I can find one. Let's just go to the SPY. Let's keep it simple. I'm still going to have some non-prints here. So, for example, on the S&P, if you've been selling as the market has been going down against these high inflection points, you could sell against them and basically say that I'm not sure if the S&P is going to go straight up from here, but I recognize that this IV expansion is pretty high. And, as a bull who maybe wants to be a little cautious, I can go out and sell something like 425, 420, basically gaining a little bit of credit, selling a $5 wide. In this case, has sort of a one-to-one risk to reward. These prices are probably not accurate. That's usually kind of hard to get. But you're defining your risk. You can obviously take a little bit more downside pressure. You can get into your strikes and not necessarily have to bail on your position because your risk is defined. And at the end of the day, so long as the market can slightly recover, move higher, or even trade flat above the 425 level, then you're able to start to see some of this credit basically decay. And because you're a seller, when you buy it back, you're trying to buy it back slightly cheaper. Now, this is great for the income seller strategy, and it tends to work well in high volatility environments. On the opposite side of the fence, you can also be a buyer. And there's nothing wrong with being a buyer in this market using verticals because the concepts are relatively similar. The idea here is that you're looking at some of this higher vega reading in the S&P, in the NASDAQ, whatever stock you want to play. And you're recognizing that even though you might be bullish, one, the market's still in a downtrend. So, you might not necessarily have the technicals against you or with you. But two, even if the market moves higher, if we see volatility come off the table, and we know that volatility is pretty extended, the volatility drops fairly significantly, let's say 5%. In this series, for example, if this percentage goes to 30, buying a call will experience some volatility exposure. So in this case, let's say I'm bullish. I want to go out and own a 425. I have to understand that for every percentage drop of IV, I'm going to be losing some of this vega. basically the premium that I paid, I'm going to be taking a Vega hit for every percentage that goes down. Now, obviously, in the scenario where the market is moving up and volatility is coming off, your delta is going to help out a lot with making this still a profitable strategy. Essentially, if the market is bullish and you're still seeing volatility decline, the call will work. You'll make money, but you might also be wrong for a period of time. And if the market is flat to down and you still see that volatility decline, you're going to be losing on delta, you're going to be losing on Vega, and also losing on theta. Just holding these contracts 4 days at a time means that every day you have to take, in this case, a $20 hit. So a way to reduce some of that is to look at verticals. And it's a simple idea here that if I want to be bullish, I want to first define my risk. How much am I willing to pay? In the case where I'm wrong, I need to know how much I'm going to lose. Here's a $5 wide S&P vertical. It's slightly out of the money, at least based on the current bid and ask. We closed at 416. We're opening at 423. This is a pretty wild market. But in this case, let's say I open this vertical. I'm able to open it for about $2. And if the market goes in my favor, if it's bullish, then as long as we're looking above 430, if we start to breach those price levels, and especially if we hold them as time moves forward, this vertical will have the chance to appreciate. And we're looking to close these out somewhere between maybe 50% to 100% profit based on what you paid. So if you pay $2, this has a max profit of 5. So the most you can make is about 150%. You pay 2, you close it at 5 at the max, 150% is your maximum. You can close it out much earlier, but understand that that is your maximum sort of profitability. And what I've done this entire time is I said, if I open a product like this up or a trade like this up, I have reduced my volatility exposure to essentially 0. What that looks like is I've bought the 425s with a 36 Vega, 0.36 Vega, and I've sold a 430 with about a 0.34 Vega. So my Vega exposure is close to 0. I don't really have volatility risk in this position. If volatility could go to the moon, as long as I'm able to withstand the sell swing that might occur, I can still hold on to this and not see my unrealized really take much of a hit based on volatility. I've also reduced my theta. Understand that holding these calls and puts over time will decay these contracts, and this will actually accelerate closer to expiration. But in this case, I've purchased 425 with a negative 20 theta, and I've sold a 430. So I've essentially bought back my time in the 430, and I've reduced my theta exposure once again to about 0. Now, of course, like always, a straight up call and put will have unrealized profitability. The market simply goes straight up from here. The call buyer is going to be much more profitable. But in almost every other scenario, the market's flat, the market goes down and then up. If the market is a little shaky, I'm able to sort of survive that volatility in the short term. And then my eventual thesis, which is in 16 days, I think the S&P can close somewhere above 430 or even get above there before then. And I can look to close this out with a profitable trade-based criteria and strategy. Not necessarily shooting for, all-time high here, but it gives you the exposure to the market. It defines your risk, and it reduces risk in other ways, time risk and volatility risk, things that are very important for the current conditions of the market. So all in all, it's a strategy. Verticals are powerful. They're building blocks for other option strategies. And whether you're buying or selling, the concepts are roughly the same. You're trying to reduce some of these other Greek related exposures and focus solely on directional and maybe a little bit of risk defined aspects of where we are in the market. So with all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Trade safe today. We'll kind of see what sort of volatility we have, maybe different leaders coming out in the sectors, and obviously look to see how these correlations shape up over the rest of the week. So we'll talk more tomorrow. Stay tuned for pre-market prep.
Here we go. I think that's better. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Thor. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm awesome, man. How are you doing today? It's good to be hanging with you this morning. I haven't got to do this for a little while.
It's been a while, man. You're right. So it's good to have you, my
It's
brother.
been a
As you're,
really long time since I've been
yeah,
on this
yeah.
side. Last time I did this, I had to run your chair. I must admit, this chair is better.
It's a lot more lax, that's for sure. Welcome everyone. Let's get right to it this morning. As you guys know, Norm is on vacation this week, so he's enjoying himself some off time there with his family, and he'll be back next week. All right, our gappers list this morning. We have a couple of things in the green and the red. So again, a lot going on today. Actually, it's it's probably one of the longest lists on both sides of the field we've seen in a long time. I actually thought there's got to be maybe something wrong with this, but it seems all over the place as far as how many tickers we have in here gapping up or down. So obviously we'll get right to it in a second here with the SPY, popping up nicely this morning, causing a lot of this green movement that we're seeing today. The move started yesterday, really, after the president finished talking. You saw the SPY kind of say, okay, we're not doing anything crazy here. As far as what's going on, unfortunately, with Ukraine over there and Russia, so things start to move higher, right? As far as it affects us dollar wise. Thor, not sure if you had time to prepare, but give us an update on the overall SPY. Keep in mind, guys, that the economic calendar there is not up to date. That is Norm's little baby there, since he's off today. Don't mind those announcements there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, our numbers haven't come out just yet on the consumer price index, but we're waiting on all of those numbers, right? Oh, actually, never mind. That's tomorrow that happens. So we don't have a lot going on there. So tomorrow we have numbers coming out. So, but there are some predictions for that numbers. Right now, it looks like the prediction is, potentially to take a little bit more stress onto the job market. So we'll see how that plays. But just in general news, Western sanctions have cut off Russia from global trade financial markets in response to its invasion of Ukraine. So that's certainly making things move around a bit. Oil prices only edged higher after the U.S. ban, which Goldman Sachs analysts said they had already priced in. Russia said that they're working with a broad response to sanctions and that they would be swift and felt the West's most sensitive areas. So oil certainly going to still be under the spotlight. I think if everyone's been to the pumps, they've noticed that everyone's kind of feeling the pressure a little bit there. European stocks opened in the green on Wednesday as investors shrugged off the negative sentiment. The EU is saying that they've got enough gas to get them through the winter. So they're saying they're not going to feel the stress as much. So we'll see how that goes. Chinese shares struggled following some inflation data that showed a combination of soft domestic demand and high commodity prices as coronavirus cases continue to rise there. Central banks are tightening monetary policy. So the 10-year U.S. Treasury yield steady at 1.87%. Elsewhere, Bitcoin led us a bit of a rally after apparently a prematurely published statement on calls a coordinated and comprehensive approach to digital asset policy. So basically, this morning, SEC chair tweeted today at POTUS signed an executive order on crypto assets. I look forward to collaborating with colleagues across the government to achieve important public policy goals, protecting investors and consumers, guarding against illicit activity, and helping ensure financial stability. So we've got a lot going on this morning in crypto, as well as people start looking for the validity of crypto. Having the president sign an executive order to look into that brings some additional validity to that. Just some general stock news. Otherwise, SPY was a little bit imbalanced yesterday to the sell side. Not too bad, though. We've got a couple little things like PayPal has a downgrade to neutral. So their price target was lowered from 175 to 107. JD remains overweight. And then we have a couple stocks, SFIX, Bumble, and Crowd, CRWD, that have had earnings news either yesterday or this morning. Those will be interesting to look at. Microsoft got some stuff. Microsoft is getting investigated for some insider trading in regards to the Activision deal. So we've got a couple of little news items that might be worth taking a look at. So far, so that's what we've got going on here this morning. We're still, still early on in the day. So let's see how things shape up.
Yeah, it's still for the markets very, very early. Anything can happen. As you guys know, this market can change directions very quickly and aggressively. So All right, let's take a look here, guys. Our stuff yesterday, we had Oxy, we had BBBY. All of them traded very good. A lot of volatility, a lot of movement, especially in the tech companies and a little bit in the travel companies popping up nicely yesterday and gapping up today. A lot of these doing very, very well. If we focus on our gappers list this morning, I'm actually going to go Control A, Control X. Oh, hold on. We'll get rid of all of this here and get a clean list. If we look at our gappers list this morning, we'll start with Bumble. You mentioned this one. So you said there's, what's the news on this one again? This is up 23%, by the way, 353,000. Usually not a great trader, but they're gapping up pretty big this morning. Let's see here, external linking. By the way, I got to do one thing here, guys. 1 second. I have to link my trade ideas. There we go. That saves us a lot of time. There we go. Perfect. So what was the news on Bumble again, Thor?
We got earning stuff.
Earning stuff. All right. So big gap today for them. It could, again, they're not the best, but could be something today, at least as a possible, I would think. So here's Bumble. We'll add that on there. And let's take a look here. ASTS this morning. This had a huge pop up this morning, and all the way up to 940 from 675. So it is just starting to get going. It just made our list. It is not a low flow, 38 million, but trading like one right now. So put it on our risky pile. We'll come back to see how that is
definitely in the risky pile.
Oh yeah. You go from 675 to 9. In a matter of seconds, minutes, a minute or two, you definitely are in the risky pile. So we'll see what's happening there. You mentioned Bitcoin, and we're seeing that here. Mara, HUD, Riot. Is CAN Bitcoin as well? I can't recall. No, I think this is something else. I can't remember. There's some other ones too.
No, it is.
It is?
CAN's
Okay.
Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yep, man. Is this the one that? No, it's not this one. It was Cron, CRON. Oh no, that's something else. That's
Cron's pot stock.
Yeah, that's the pot stock. I'm on the other side over there. Yeah, so CAN is the one, huh? This thing has died down because I remember this being more active. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. Man, this has not been doing well. So definitely not one of my favorites. I do like Mara out of all of these, but again, these Bitcoin stocks have not been trading all that great intraday. There was like 1 or 2 days, and Jared had caught some good moves there, and other members in the chat as well. I missed that move there because I did not have it on my list. We'll add Mara to a secondary for now. There's a lot going on here. There's a few you can look at. HUD, Riot is on here as well, and CAN probably the worst looking one right now with only 180,000 shares traded. So ZIM this morning, they are up 9%. Typically light volume on the daily, about 3.4 million looks like, just throwing some average numbers out there on the daily. But today they have a nice gap above this area of resistance, so that could be interesting. Not a big fan of the volume.
Zim had some earnings a few days ago, but Zim's a shipper. So I think they had news and then earnings. So they've definitely got some stuff going.
Yeah, earnings have
but they are a shipper.
Yeah,
so
they don't trade very well. Yeah, so we'll have to see. Again, they're looking good pre-market now. So just looking at their history, it could be very light volume. But this morning, they already got 565,000. Who knows? We'll keep it on here. We'll see what happens there. Bucket, I'm not a big fan of. I think it's pure garbage, this one here, guys. We'll head down here to ING. And when I say pure garbage, I hate to I don't want to offend nobody. If you're in this stock or you love trading this stock or this is your best stock, that's great. I want to be clear. It's garbage for the way I like to trade. So just be clear on that one.
We don't mean the actual company. We just mean
and then we don't mean the actual company neither, right? That company could be a great company. I don't know anything about this company. I don't know what
it could be garbage. We just don't know that.
But I haven't been to Glassdoor to see the employees that only post negative reviews. Nobody will post positive reviews. But and the great thing about day trading the way we trade, we don't care about the company at all. We're looking just at the technical information, which is kind of fun at times. Here is Eric this morning. Again, this is Ericsson. They trade horrible. I'm gonna skip on that one. ING here, no good as well. I think today, with everything we have going on, we could skip a lot of the stuff that does not look great. Coin, another Bitcoin ticker here as well. CCL this morning. I like CCL. I'm definitely going to be watching these guys. We'll put them on there. CUK, also another different share class of CCL. But CCL typically gets
on CCL that I'm noticing, that I think is interesting on CCL, Carlos, is that you've got oil or gas prices going up, which I would think would negatively affect the travel industry in this way. CCL is popping up this morning, but
Yeah.
the order
Yep.
ladder on it looks very, very weak. So it'll be
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
interesting to see if we're getting a gap squeeze and if we sell on this one today.
I agree. I mean, I know there were talks about us starting to use some of our oil here, or we started to use that. So I don't know how much that affects in it. Or again, Thor, how many times we've seen this where some of that news already might be already baked into this drop we had a while ago, the last couple of weeks,
For
right?
sure.
I mean, we went from 20 down to 15. And I think eventually some of these companies that they're not going to go bankrupt, survive the pandemic, they survive other market crashes in the past. They're not going to go broke. They're not going to go belly up. People just find value at 15. You'd be surprised how many, especially on the airlines, American Airlines, another one as well, that is sitting 1260, right? How many people are just getting in here no matter what happens next? They know eventually it's going to pop up to where it's supposed to be. So there could be some of that going on. We don't know, but American Airlines is another one that is, I think, is in play as well. I'm going to be watching this one. And I agree with you 100%. These things popping up when oil prices, I mean, I'm getting killed at every time I go to the pump. He is not my favorite friend, that guy anymore. We are not in talking terms. Here we have
Tried to start a fight with him. He argued with me.
we're not saying
I
good
was
morning to
upset.
each other. Not his fault, but I gotta take it on somebody. Here's the SQ
There you
guys this
go.
morning. They're up 5.6, 271,000. Okay, pre-market action, not explosive. We definitely seen some great stuff from them. But we'll put them on here for now. American Airlines is
So
here.
one thing on
Yeah,
SQ, just to throw in the back burner there, SQ does hold a little bit of Bitcoin position. I know in their in Square's portfolio, they hold some significant Bitcoin in there. So having the Bitcoin rally could actually make SQ a sleeper. So because it is very extended from VWAP on the daily to the downside, way under value, and it's been kind of sitting here with some volume for a couple weeks. So could this be the news that finally gets SQ moving? Maybe. Maybe
yeah.
today's the day.
Yep, I agree, and they're known to putting in some really good wide body candles here on the date. As you can see, the last couple of days, their volume hasn't increased much, but their movement has definitely increased quite a bit. Right, the volume is still pretty much the same. You got a couple of days here with increased volume, but man, they're moving. They're definitely pushing some dollars around there. So, looking very interesting on the daily as well. As I agree with SQ, could be a nice one today. United Airlines is on here also. I have Delta, a couple of good ones in here. You can watch either one, guys. I'm gonna have American Airlines today. I will put United as a secondary because I personally do like to trade that one. UBS, no. GM, not really at the moment. Uber, let's go Uber up to popping up a little bit, 4.3. So okay, so we'll keep it off for now.
Uber is like the one of those stocks that's basically on my do not trade list.
It's
It's
so tough,
so
yeah.
alluring as a stock, just because of its
Yeah.
price and its spread, and you recognize the name. But I'll be honest with everybody, I trade this ticker horribly. Whenever I
Yeah,
get into
yeah.
Uber, it always seems like I get long, I get a partial. The thing always comes back, over retraces, stops me out, and then goes in the other direction. It's just the way this one's managed. I struggle on Uber every
Yeah.
time I try it.
Even when you have great volume, it still does not trade very well. It's like
No,
it's
that's what I
something
mean. Like
about this
no
stock.
matter
Yeah,
what, I
yeah,
I can
yeah.
never get this one to peg for me. It's just ridiculous.
It is a tough one. Guys, we'll stop here. If we go down the list, everything is on here that you traded in the last 6 months. AMD, Snap, Nike, Nvidia, Lucid, SoFi, XPEF, PLTR, I mean, Space, TSM. Guys, the whole list is here. It just keeps growing. Everything's up between that.
They're all here,
They're
folks.
all
Just
here,
just
right? If just look at your trading history, and every ticker you traded in the last 6 months is probably here. Roblox, I mean, it's just BA, Bank of America. It is just madness. So it's gonna be one of those days where we have to be very, very picky. Let's see what's gapping down, at least the top five or so. See if there's anything interesting happening here. SFIX this morning, they are taking a bit of a hit, 20% down. This is Stitch Fitch, right? What's the issue with this one? They are getting crushed with this
earnings
today. Ooh,
earnings
yeah,
on
yeah.
SFIX.
Definitely like this one. This one could be a little choppy at times too after the bell opening. So just be careful with this one. But I like the drop this morning, trying to recover a little bit here from the pre-market lows. NTRA, this is no good. I don't like this drop here. It looks very spready right now. You have a huge spread on this, almost $1. pre-market. That can get better, but this is not tradable. Pre-market, $2 here, a very low volume. This is really not tradable pre-market right now for what we're looking to do. CYRN not looking good neither. Use G. What are these? These are energy companies. Yeah. So these energy companies, right? They don't put in a great pre-market activity. They're pretty weird, but when the market opens, they can get going here. A lot of them having this huge pop up in the last couple of days. Some of them coming back down to reality a little bit here. So just be careful with them. Their price action is very weird. I know you can catch some really good moves, and I've seen traders, our members, be very patient and take great advantage. You guys heard Ed yesterday talking about some of the members in his group and how much they were making off these moves, right? Just being very patient. So that is definitely required on these tickers. And know when the party's over, like you mentioned, right? Know when the party's over. Some of these are just not going to give you what they have in the last couple of days. Marbs and SB, SW, the foreign stocks. Oxy's here. I think Oxy's a great one to keep an eye on heading in the other direction today. Valley, not so much. Gold, you can watch. I don't usually put that on my list. PSX, no good. How HAL here, no, not great. And they got some other ones on here that, again, a lot of the mining and oil companies down from some of their recent highs here, the ones that have, especially the ones that have ran up pretty good the last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, like Oxy. I mean, that's got
yeah,
to be expected. I mean, look
right,
how I
right,
mean, this thing was trading. Its VWAPs like at 32.50. It was trading at
yeah,
40 a couple days ago. Ran to 60. I mean, that's a
yeah,
really
yeah.
big move.
Yeah, I mean, we don't expect it to stay up there, right? So we'll see. But pre-market action, guys, looks very, very good this morning on Oxy. Definitely one of my favorite ones in that area to keep an eye on. So we'll keep that on the deck. All right, guys, let's take a look at Thor. What do you have on your end that you like this morning?
So far, I don't have any major standouts. I actually Oxy is
Mm-hmm.
going to be on my list today. I've been playing Oxy for the past couple of days. It's been trading well. It's been reading well. I'm
Yep.
probably going to watch SPY ETF today. Yesterday, for anyone who was in the room yesterday, we, especially around lunchtime, when the president spoke, we were calling a bottom at S3 on our Camarillo points yesterday, and we it wicked within Camarillo point within 2 cents. So a lot of us caught the bottom of that and enjoyed a really nice all day rally yesterday to close out. So, but the SPY has been trading very accurately with the system that I use. So I'll probably be keeping an eye on SPY. And then Volume Scanner is showing Apple, AMD, as kind of pop outs. Apple, AMD, and Nvidia as some pop
Mm-hmm.
outs volume wise that are kind of running a little bit more volume than I'm used to seeing in the morning. So I'll probably keep an eye and see what's going on. Why are we getting extra volume in those guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I got Apple here, guys, up 2.4, 1.3. That's amazing volume. AMD, as you mentioned as well, up 4%, almost 1.2 million shares traded. So they got great stuff here. And Nvidia also looking pretty good. Not the best pre-market activity, at 1.5. Again, Nvidia gave us some really good pre-market action in the last several months, right? They've been doing very well. The last couple of days, not so much. Apple and AMD are clearly putting in some really good action in the pre-market. So Nvidia might be kind of falling behind a little bit here when it comes to intraday trading, the stuff that we're looking for. All right, let's take a look in our chat room, guys. Let's see what we have. Chicago Mike Oxy had downgrade yesterday. Yep, I think that whole sector is down, but that's not going to help them. So that should be interesting. Should add here to the downtrend if that is what they want to do this morning. Sitting at a good level here at 52. Again, we only held that for the last 2 days. Not a lot of weight on here, like some of these levels down here, right? So we'll see how that's going to hold. But I think it's going to be a one in play for sure. Darth Trader. Let's take a look here. You have here Neo, PLTR. Let's take a look. Neo. Oh, I'm about to say, what happened to Neo? But I put Bio by mistake. I'm like, what happened to this stock? This is a no.
You're like, when did Neo get to $500? My
Yeah,
God.
like what is going on?
Better go check my long-term portfolio. I need to sell.
Exactly. Here is Neo, guys. So Neo right now, 2.8, not great volume. They're daily interesting. It's okay. I think it doesn't beat a lot of the stuff that we have on deck. We'll put it as a pause for now. Keep an eye on the EV stuff going on there. PLTR. Again, another one that moved pretty okay, pretty decent yesterday. This morning, they're up 3.4, 604,000. Um, it's all right. We'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it for sure. Neo, yeah, Neo I have here. I mean, I something about it doesn't look great right now, right? I mean, we've been so weak the last couple of days here. We're getting a little bit of a pop of 2.7, but the volume is not there. This is kind of
Hmm.
doing what everything is kind of doing here. That's stuck between that 2% and 4%, right? It's a lot on here. It's not great. We've seen Neo at this time of the morning with some real significant volume where you're like, okay, I need to have this on my list. And if you're new, you're
Yeah,
thinking,
exactly.
what is guys talking about? If you're new to the show or to our members, 839,000 is huge volume, but not for Neo. Neo right now will be having, a 1.5, two times that, and you'll see some better pre-market activity. We're not seeing that right now. But nevertheless, that can change, right? So I think it's still a good one to watch because when they get going, man, they are good. They're real nice.
Yeah,
Here is
Neo's a good ticker,
yeah,
but I agree with you. When its pre-market is in play, when that stock is in play, it's in play. It's like
yeah.
it's one of the easiest stocks to recognize when it is in play. And
Mm-hmm.
with so many tickers to weed through that have potential, why yesterday this stock had like $1.50 candle that was very indecisive. So this stock's probably going to be range bound to a very small candle today. So
Yeah.
not really, maybe it breaks out, but it's a secondary item at best. But with so much other stuff, maybe not even that at this, for this.
Yep, I agree 100%. Here's plug, guys. Plug this morning. Again, we have a lot of stocks stuck between this 2% and 4% that are gapping up with okay volume. The good thing about this one, though, is they had an amazing day yesterday. I mean, they took off. And actually, no, I confused. No, it was not PLTR that had a great day. I confused PLTR for plug. Plug was not the one with the great day. I'm sorry, PLTR was not the one with the great day yesterday. It was plug. I remember this because we called it out in the chat room, and man, just look at the takeoff we had here. So it could be interesting for an opportunity for a secondary play. I'm going to remove PLTR because that's not the one that I meant. I meant plug here. This is the one that can actually do something today. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes there. Let's see here. Let's go over to who we left off. Neo, we have. That's good. Plug, we have. DKNG. Let's take a look there. DKNG this morning. Yeah, similar story here. It's kind of stuck between that 2 and 4% pop up. Not a whole lot of volume for DKNG today, so we'll keep it off the list for now. All right, we'll stop here. Let's take a look over on our YouTube end. Our friends here. Let's see. We got Uber. We looked at SoFi. SoFi. Let's see here. This is one of the stocks that I just cannot get a hold of the price action. It just seems weird to me the way it moves. This pre-market action, I mean, I know we were showing 906,000 shares traded, but just look at this activity. This doesn't look interesting or attractive at all for me. I just don't like this pre-market action there. There's definitely some volume missing here, right? You don't have 906,000 there. And again, that's happening more often. I'm not sure why that's the case with some of these tickers. We see that quite a bit. But looking at this chart, it's just not, I'm not feeling it at the moment. Neo is good. GE on a day like today, I don't know if GE is going to be the one to look at. Very light volume. They don't have any news at the moment going on, so nothing for us to watch here at the moment. SBFM. I think the fund might be. These are the stocks you got to be very, very careful with, right? These
Hmm.
biotech companies, man. Look at this, 150, shooting it up to 859 bucks, right? Bull flag here. How many people got caught here trying to go long, and now they're
Yeah,
sitting here
exactly.
waiting to see if they can get out of break even? Man, oh man, oh man.
Yeah,
When I
but what
started,
happens is you get
yeah,
long in there, and then it makes a new low below $4, and everybody
yeah.
up at $8 panic sells, and the thing rips back down to 150.
Yeah, yeah, it's just insane, man. When I started, I used to get stuck in these here and there, and then I realized, man, this is for me, this is straight gambling. This is straight gambling. You just don't know. So I stopped trading these, man. I don't look at them. These biotech
I don't know. When you
companies,
gamble, you have a chance to make money. I think
yeah,
in this instance, this is charity.
this is
I
charity
think
work.
if you want to trade this, actually, Carlos and I can post our personal addresses somewhere. You guys actually can just write a check for whatever you're gonna trade for. Just send
Yeah,
it to me.
yeah.
I will put it into a bond or something like that, and then I will give it back to you in like 5 years, and you will have paid
You'll be
money.
happier.
But yeah, just don't donate your money
Yeah.
to the market in this one. Find something, you know, that's gonna give you the opportunity to manage your risk.
Yep,
This one
absolutely,
won't give you
guys.
that opportunity.
This won't give it to you. I mean, you have to have if you have a strategy and it's working for you, great. But man, the way we trade, this will never work. It's just no, 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 no. So we
Yeah,
won't be
I wouldn't
watching
even
that
know how to
one.
control my risk on it.
DJ, just be very, very careful on this thing. And even here, like Thor said, you're gonna get these breakouts. Oh, we're gonna go again, boom, right back down with 9 million shares traded. Yeah. No bueno, no bueno. That is the no
I
for
mean, and
today.
you feel confident because you take a, you know, you're like, oh, it's only $4. I'll grab 1,000 shares of this or something like that, and then it goes from 4 to 2, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, I can lose a few grand on a $4 stock really fast.
Just like that. Oh yeah. Been there, done that. All right, guys. Let's take a look here. Let's go to our community events and announcements. We're coming up at 9 a.m. Eastern time. There's a lot to watch today, guys. So you can really pick some of your favorite stocks that you know are going to get the movement today, and you can have an amazing list. But there's a lot of stuff stuck between that 2% and 4% that's not really in play. So just be mindful of that. Don't put stuff on there just because. Try to find something that's looking better than normal this morning.
All right. This week, coming up in technology, we have a technology webinar presented by Kyle, DAS Trader Pro Q&A. If there's anybody who want to talk to about DAS Trader Pro, I'm pretty sure at this point Kyle probably knows the platform as well as the programmers there. I actually think they started asking him for advice. No, I'm just kidding. But if he's going to be talking about some of the new feature updates. One new feature update I'm super excited about from DOS. Just a little shout out to DOS Pro because I love it. We are baiting in beta on a new advanced level 2, which apparently should have some L3 data in it. Very fun tool. Looks like a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it so far. Next week, we're going to do trade journaling, part 1, correlating your data. He's going to be talking about the importance of journaling. This is Kyle again, in addition to the tools you're available to use for journaling. So it'll be a really informative session. Don't make sure not to miss out. Oh, that was in the past. Oh, crap. Okay. So actually, sorry on that first one. The first one already happened. The second one's the one coming up. All right. Same thing here. First one already happened on yesterday. We had Mike Bear presented how to determine when to move your stop to break even. It was a really good webinar. I think there's a lot of different ways to think on this one. A lot of us do it using R, but your R is arbitrary. So is that really the best way? Who knows? Mike addressed that quite well. So if you didn't get a chance to catch that, it will be posted to our education center shortly, if not already. And then next week, oh, look at this guy. Look, and he has hair. I don't, but that guy in this picture does. So that's pretty cool. But he's going to be doing tape reading lesson 3, and we're going to be doing analyzing ladder structure. So what I mean by ladder structure is we're actually going to be dipping into the L2 and the way the L2 is configured and the way it actually presents as orders come in and off the book. You can actually determine if bulls or bears are taking positions and buying. We want to look at ladder structure not only for that, but also for expectation of move, range, and all of these other things. So it's going to be a really fun time getting together. We're going to be closing out our 3rd lesson on tape reading. So this should close it out. Going to be a really nice advanced module for everyone. So come by, check it out. It'll be fun. All right. Wednesday, March 9th, 5 p.m. That is today, according to my watch. Thank goodness. We have Creda is going to be presenting the Mental Edge series, how to identify the negative thinking that causes losing trades. Ooh, I need some of this. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Mindset plays a very significant role in successful trading. A negative mindset can actually take several forms, and Creda is going to be exploring those with you guys to make sure that you can go through that. Next week, Mike Bear stepping in, probabilities part 2, how to employ your trade book edge just like a casino does, making yourself the house, right? We often refer to this as gambling versus speculating. We like to call ourselves speculators because it makes us feel fancy, but in reality, we're gamblers. right? And because we gamble, we need a system, and we need to make sure that that system is tuned to allow us to mitigate and manage our risk as much as possible. You do that with your trade book. Mike is going to help you explore that. So make yourself the house, and then you put yourself on the better side. I like that. Mentorship on Thursdays. We have been expanding mentorship. One of the things that we try to provide for BBT, it's been a big initiative of mine as well as a few others, is trying to get interfacing with y'all on a direct level. So when you're a member at BBT, we have dedicated sessions on Thursday just for you to sit, ask questions, and for us to answer them as well as we possibly can. After the opening session is open, mentoring starts at 11 a.m. with our very own Andrew. You've read the book, now get the mentoring. Come in and check this guy out. We do that. We then have the incomparable Ed Martin, Average Joe Trader, comes over at 4:30 p.m. and does his mentoring session, which I have been attending lately. Ed is the man. Really liking this guy. He's been actually helping me hold longer and get better long-term positions, which has increased my profit. Really appreciate some of the instruction I've gotten from him. Make sure you check his out. Ed Martin also has his own chat room here at BBT. So if you have a small account, you're into trend trading or any of these kinds of things, we have an entire room just for you. And then at Thursday, there's that guy with hair again. Oh, look at this guy. Thursday night, it's me. We do mentoring at 8 p.m. For the record, this is where all the really intelligent and good-looking people come to hang out. It's Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. We put on some music. We have a good time. We get lots of questions going, and it's just a blast. So look forward to seeing everybody there. All right, we have the BBT replay available through www.stocktradingsimulator.com. Got to check that out. We got really great stuff coming into there. Also, Eamon spending a lot of time putting together coursework, homework lessons, all kind of things. If you want strategy and watch list ideas, you can actually go in there, submit your email. You'll be getting those directly to you, which is really awesome. Interested in joining Bear Bull Traders? How could you not be after all of this cool stuff that I just said we do for you guys, right? If you want to come check us out, we got a little promo code for you. It's called Pre-Market24. After you're done throwing us a like, grab that pre-market code, pop over and check us out. $39 only gets you a 7-day trial. So you get access to the chat room, access to a live onboarding session. You get to come by and you get to check things out. No pressure. If you don't like the room, which I will insist you will, then you're not committed. But if you do, we get signed up, and we got some promos for that to you when you're ready for that.
All right, thank you very much, Thor, for that. Guys, let's get to it. Let's start looking here at our watch list this morning. Again, there's just so much that we can look at today from looking at this list here. We have CCL, we have American Airlines, I have SFIX here as well. We have Oxy dropping, continuing to drop here, losing some of these levels that it had here from the lows for the last 2 trading days. We have Apple, a very, very active pre-market activity, 1.5. AMD looks much cleaner, by the way. I like AMD a whole lot better this morning. Also 1.5 up 3.6. So there's a lot of green stuff here. The tickers that are in the red are mainly oil companies that are just kind of coming back down a little bit from their crazy pop the last couple of days. So those don't look all that great. But definitely the ones in the green side are companies that we usually end up trading. So if you look at the tickers, you can see just the difference in the stuff that was down a couple of days ago, stuff that was up, and now we're kind of flipping here, at least for today. Who knows what happens tomorrow, or who knows what happens in a few hours at 12 market time. We'll see how things are looking. All right, let's get some levels in here. We'll start with CCL this morning. I like the volume on that one. It is up 6.3. High of the pre-market, we had a pop all the way up here at 1736. We'll mark this down, but I am really more interested in this 17 here. Here's where we had a lot of collision with the price trying to get above that, was not able to. So I definitely want to have that on the list there. That's a great area of resistance. Above that, you do have some highs and lows from 2 trading days ago. And up here, I'm going to mark this one 1807 for in case we're going to run. But today's a day that you really do not want to have a bias today, because we're at a point where we can really get going and we can really come back down. Like, there is no preference from CCL right now on my end. This gapping up 6.2 means nothing with the way this market is trading. So again, if you want to have a day where you do not want to have a bias, that's every day, but today especially, the way the market is right now, you can really run to both ends. Sometimes we see a stock, we say, oh, I like this more towards the top side or towards the bottom side, but today they look good, either way they go. So they're very interesting.
Yeah,
Here, guys,
catching some
Yeah.
volume right now.
Yeah,
Quite a
let's
bit,
see.
actually.
Yeah, look at that nice pop. Any news coming out?
Not sure. That's what I'm looking for now, to see if
Yeah.
anything new. Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll look around and see if anything new is coming out. But we're definitely starting to catch a bid here. What you were saying before, actually, though, still resonates with me, Carlos, which is a lot of these days where you've gapped and you find the market pushing up in the morning, it's kind of a trap. Like, you get really excited, you think the price is going to run away from you right at the open. You're just all hyped up to go long, and then it sells off all day, and you go, what happened? Right. So I do notice the SPY, CCL, Apple, all of these stocks actually have fairly weak looking order ladders right now. So let's make sure we don't get trapped here.
Absolutely, guys. We're getting a little bit of a pop on many of the stocks that are up now because the SPY is moving higher. Here's American Airlines now. I like this one today. It has great volume, guys. You can also look at United if you like that one. Right now, highs and lows doing a pretty good job for the most part. We just keep 1382 there, which is close to the low of the pre-market. Could be a little bit lower, maybe right over here. And I think you're pretty much set when it comes to American Airlines. SFIX today, again, they're down 19. And sometimes I like these stocks when they drop so much like this, because I think at times it's just an overreaction. At times, not always, but they can become.
All right, I got something for you, Carlos.
Yeah, give it to us.
Aide to Ukrainian President Zelensky says Ukraine is ready for a diplomatic solution with Russia to end the war. Or the conflict.
Nice.
Sorry.
Nice.
So this is what's going to bring. This might be a game changer for the day.
It definitely is, and I'm starting to see some of the alerts come in now as well. Yeah, that is major news, guys. You're gonna see these oil companies start dropping really fast now, because that is not that it's not good for them, but it doesn't. Look at Oxy right now; it's just taking a drop, guys. So yes, that news is breaking out. Things are taking off. United Airlines here looking to pop. All right, it's gonna be an interesting day, that is for sure, my friends. Let's go back here to SFIX this morning. Again, it might be an overreaction. They had earnings last night. We'll see. Down 19%. Nice drop for them. 801, 795 low of the pre-market. 919 the high of the pre-market. We'll see where things fall into place here as far as SFIX. Here's Oxy, which again, Oxy is very, very good. If I was not doing this pre-market show, who knows? But love the pre-market right now, 50.53. Towards the bottom, guys, you're looking at 48.04, and then down here 44.17. So towards the top, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days looking pretty good there. You got tons of stuff happening here, and we'll see how this catalyst is going to play out here. Apple getting a nice little pop here with the rest of the stuff this morning. It's 161.99 is the high of the pre-market. Towards the bottom, you're stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. So we'll see how that plays out. Pretty much set. I don't think you need to add any more levels to Apple. You have a pretty good, solid levels in the from the last 2 trading days. Here's AMD, which again, I think has a better pre-market activity. I might move Apple down and just keep AMD as my tech company for today. See what else is moving, especially with that type of news, Thor. I think that's going to create a lot of stocks to get some moving going here. Towards the bottom, guys, low of the pre-market at 106.88. That's all you need towards the bottom. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Doing a good job. Look at this level you're slamming up against now. This is 109.87, which is your high of your pre-market. Also the highs for the last 2 trading days. So it's a good level to try to get above there. I think that can create some good opportunities for us. And then 112.67 is the next daily level that I have coming up. A couple in here, 116.74. I'm going to mark down all the way up to 123 because, again, this type of positive news if it's if it gets going, if it catches fire, you're gonna see some really good moves. We saw something like this similar back on the 24th, where we gapped down huge, guys, and look at the pop we had. Right, we had that on Apple and a lot of look at Apple on that time. 152 popped up all the way to 164. So again, a lot of these companies that have been doing well don't want to be down here. The market has definitely pushed them down. If the market starts doing its thing here, they can see a really nice day today. So we'll have to see how things go here. AMD, we are set. Yeah, we're looking good. CCL, American Airlines, SFIX, Oxy, Apple, and AMD this morning. Let's take a look at what our moderators are looking at this morning. This is the fun we're having here in chat today. Everybody's in approval of everything going on here. So look at that. Nice. Good stuff, guys. All right, let's see what our moderators are looking at this morning. If you haven't done so already over on YouTube, guys, we really appreciate thumbs up. It helps us out a ton. And it helps the channel, it helps our community. So really appreciate if you can support us there. We like to be at 250, only at 171 right now. So a little bit lower than average. Hopefully we can start getting a pop the way the market is popping up. So I appreciate that. All right, here's Mike. Watchlist, Apple, AMD, SQ. Susan looking at Oxy, AMD. Secondary list, Apple and CCL. Jared is looking at what he's looking at, some of ETFs here based on risk sectors that he wants to put risk on. Bullish sectors as well. Got some ETFs there for that as well. Here's Tiffany, Apple, AMD, secondary list, American Airlines. I wonder how this list is going to look in a couple of minutes for our moderators, because a lot could be changing with that catalyst, right? There might be some stuff here that going to start looking better than they were this morning. Dima, Apple, AMD, Oxy. Jared is looking at ETFs, as you mentioned, AMD and Tesla, Bitcoin. He's looking at Peter's, a couple of not IPOs, but SPAC coming out today. His list, AMD, Oxy, CCL, secondary list, BM and BL, Bumble there, American Airlines, and Apple. Thor, your list, I'll let you read it in a second. Megan is looking at maybe, not liking a lot today, but again, that could change depending on how things go. For Megan, looking at SQ and Piton. And I think she says later, meaning, kind of wait on something to set up there. So she'll speak more on that. When she's on the mic later at around 10:30, she'll break that down for us. Thor, what's your list today? What do you like? And how are you feeling about this catalyst right now?
So far, I'm interested in the catalyst. I just don't know what it means, because I'm glad Ukraine is ready to talk. Is Russia ready to talk? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if one equals the other. So we're gonna, I don't want to just get all hyped up and just start like YOLO longing this thing right now, because I don't know if that's gonna be a thing or not.
That's what I was thinking of doing.
A lot of the
you're not gonna join me.
Still looking a little weak. So
yeah.
So,
I was thinking of YOLOing long. So I don't know if
President Zelensky aide has stated that Ukraine will not trade a single inch of territory. So let's see how it goes.
So what conversation? Yeah. So what conversation are we gonna have here? So but at least they're talking. Talking is good. Let's get somewhere. Hopefully meet in the middle, and
talking. But the good news is it will likely bring in some volatility. So is it long? Is it short? We don't know. Will there be an opportunity? Absolutely. We will certainly have an opportunity today. We just don't know what that is yet. But we'll make sure to figure that out. Right now, SPY is actually opening in a breakout range above R4. If it can hold an open here, I will be kind of a little long biased on this thing until it proves me otherwise. But I need to see the price open. So we've got 15 more minutes for this thing. If it opens, 80 cents lower, then I'm a short. So right now I'm very, very indecisive on direction, which I think is kind of what Carlos was actually saying. Like, who knows, which way.
Yeah.
So watch list wise with the catalyst, I'm going to watch SPY, see what happens. Also going to trade Apple, Oxy, and AMD. A lot of volume in those. And if the market SPY does bounce, I imagine tech's going to catch a bid. So I also threw Microsoft on secondary because it's really extended. And then I got BMBL on there because it had earnings, and why not?
They got a nice cap up today too.
So we'll go with that. But for right now, that's me. I'm stoked. We've definitely got some catalysts today. We've got something that's going to create some opportunities. We just don't want to get too excited and get ourselves trapped into the wrong direction here.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, this market is set up it can rip both ways easily. The way it's set up right now, because it's not overextended, at least for today, based on yesterday, in any direction. So just be careful on that. All right, guys, we are all set here. Our moderators are ready to go. Brian is up next door. Are you trading live today this morning in chat? or is Andrew?
I'm not entirely sure. I think Andrew is here today. If not, I can probably be persuaded.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Guys, over on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us this morning. If you haven't done so already, this is your one more chance to hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it very much. Thor, thank you for covering for Norm today, as Norm is off on vacation. So appreciate it very much. Sitting at 219, we'll love to get to 250. That is our sweet spot. That's like our threshold. If we don't get to that, man, we're doing something wrong here. But thank you guys either way. Trade safe, guys.
Personally.
No, of course not.
You give Norm 250. You don't give me 250. I'm just saying.
Guys, take care. Trade safe. Have an amazing day. 231. We'll get to 50. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.